The intelligent edge printer concept is the one that we want to introduce in today. I'm gonna just move to the next slide. Okay, the agenda. Types of data. We will be introducing types of data. Then we will going through the updates that we have done to link-OS version 6. Then we finally introducing the intelligent edge printer concept. So let's start it now. When we talk about printers, we are talking about two types of data. One data is the one by third-party data, the data that is generated to third parties, and the other data is basically generated by the printer. Let's talk about first the third-party data. There are two ways to send the data to the printer. You can send the data to the printer to a third-party app. So you can send, you can put all of the information, the receipt label or label receipt on the application, and you send all of that data to third-party data to the printer. The other way to do it, a more efficient and more intelligent, is putting some part of that data into our printer. So the way to do it is through third-party data that you can save through templates, images, and forms. We recommend to work through that process so you can create your templates, you can save your image for the logos, and use their forms. Basically, what you are doing, sending the data to the printer, is the variable data. That's for the third-party data. Now, for printer, or for the printer data, so let's review the printer data. The printer data we have here on the right side of the screen, different types of data. One of them is the RFID data. Again, it is not the personal data. All of the RFID operations data that is useful for Zebra and for other ISB parties. The diagnostic data could be battery operations or other status errors of the printers. And also we have the internal sets of data that is useful for diagnostic, like Dan Cugliana was explaining before. Also, we have the security data. For security data, we are talking about configuration. So for configuration, we will review that in detail in the next slides. And after that, we have the MPS. MPS stands for Managed Print Services, and covers mainly media, ribbon, printhead, media ribbon, and printhead are the consumables of any Zebra printers. And the last data, important too, is the location environmental data through the IoT sensors. We have already launched some of the printer with these sensors, like the CQ511 and CQ521 mobile printers. We launched that last year, and they already come with temperature and humidity sensors. Okay, let's go to security updates. Since 2016, cybersecurity is an issue that is affecting most of the companies around the world. Zebra is knowledge about that and have been doing a lot of investment to make the printer more secure. In order to do the printer more secure, Zebra have been implementing several strategies and also different tools. With the Print Secure version 2 companies, we have developed the security assessment wizard tool that comes with the mobile apps, Android mobile apps. I'm going to explain that in detail in the next slide. Also, we have made easier for developers and for IT operators to work with Wi-Fi certificate management. So now that the certification management is automatic process, doing that better, easier through WLANs. All of this is available with link-OS version 6. At this moment, we have the version 6.3, so you can get those through downloading the firmware through the Zebra product page. The next one that we have implemented is protected mode. That's also come with link-OS version 6. It was released. This implementation covers to control up to 150 settings. Gonna go through the details in the next slides too. And the final, but no less important, are the default improvements that we have made. Some of those improvements go through Bluetooth discovery. Many of you are knowledge that our printers don't come from out the post already Bluetooth discovery. You need to enable the Bluetooth discovery in order to detect those through Bluetooth. Those may cause some pain to the initial users, but it's important to make the printer more secure. So we recommend after you receive your printers, activate those if you need the Bluetooth discovery. You need to push the button 5 seconds most of the times, or you can do that through SGD commands to enable those default settings for communications. All of this information is available in one document that was developed. Is the Print Secure Administration Guide. The Print Secure Administration Guide is available on the link here. When you have availability to download the presentation today, you will have access to this. But another way is just go to Google, put Printer Security Administration Guide, and immediately go through this link, and you will be able to download the whole document. The whole document explains in detail the best practices for security administration of your printer, the LinkOS printer, and I'm gonna go through the next slide explaining some use cases and how to work with the protected mode, basically. Protected mode, here on your right side, you will see a demo video where we are enabling the protected mode. And at the same time, here in the middle, I'm going to explain how this command is structured. They work through JSON commands. You see the structure here, JSON commands, where the first part of the command, the top part of the command is where you just get access to the printer through the username. Through the username is only one user, is administration user, no other ones for now. And also in password, you will just add in the current password at that time. The second part of the operation is the command that you want to enable. In this particular case, what we are doing is enable to allow the printer to download the firmware. After the firmware is updated, the printer will be putting back to no allowing more downloads. So, but in addition to do that, you need to set up the SGD command to have that option permanently. Now, as you see on the right side, there were some commands that I was taking, and the command was showing some JSON command results. You maybe saw when show the command 0, that's basically that the command was executed completely and successfully. If the command is not executed correctly, you will have the other series of codes here that will tell you what is happening and what is not the command executed correctly. Now, after that, other important things that to have in mind here in order to work with protected mode. In order to work with protected mode, basically there is one type, basic. All of the commands will work through the type basic, but in operations, you will have different options set up, just to set up a configuration set. So after you do the setup and you do the initial configuration, any other command that you want add to be covered for protected mode needs to go through set. And in addition, the way that you saw here with allow next firmware download is the way to do the command that just we demo here. Okay, let's move to the next item and security that we have implemented. We want to be repeating this anytime because for us it's very important, not just to do the development of the security tools, but you are aware of them so you can use them and protect your equipment in your regions. And you are an ISB, we encourage you to implement those tools too to protect your end users. So one of the important tools that we have developed is the security assessment wizard tool. You can get access to this tool through the mobile apps in Android or iOS. Just look through the Google, for example, Google Apps through Cibra utility tool, and immediately will show up the logo for this. Then you can download it, and after that, you will be able to get access to the application with the option for the security assessment tool. The security assessment tool, basically what it does is heat map of the internal recs of the printer shows. This is done to avoid that your printer can be hackable. On the right side here, what you see here are the Zebra links, is the legacy printers versus the LinkOS printers. You can see this table in more precisely way going through the document that I just introduced in the previous slide. Of each command, what is available for Zebra Link or for LinkOS printers. What we recommend is if you have a Zebra Link, move forward or update your equipment to LinkOS printer, because the LinkOS printer will give you options to implement the new security updates that we have made. Okay, let's try to review in detail how this security update works. The first portion here, for this particular example that you see on this slide, what we are trying to secure is the Wi-Fi. So when we try to secure the Wi-Fi, the expectation is all of the other ports or the config of settings that the Zebra printer has should be off. So in order to make that happen, you will need to implement some kind of algorithms with your application doing something like that. You compare those through the security best practices, and after you get the report from your evaluation, you will get something like this and color it based on the critical issue happening. So it's I'm gonna move this to be just working in Wi-Fi. I'm gonna run my algorithms, and something like this will be happening. So I'm gonna be turning off all of the application settings that needs to be off. I'm gonna be turning off all of the communications port that needs to be off, with the exception of the Wi-Fi. So the Wi-Fi will be the only one who has to be on. Then I'm gonna be turning off all of the services that needs to be off as well. So you can implement this with the same kind of settings for network configuration or Bluetooth configuration. So if you're working with Bluetooth configuration, Bluetooth will be the only port that needs to be open. Other updates that we have done that come with LinkOS 6.3 is that we have improved the behavior for low battery. So if you're working with mobile printers, and low battery is a critical issue, we recommend to you to immediately update to LinkOS version 6.3, who have improved this quality situation or use case. Also, for the printer CD4, CD6, and CD8 series, we have implemented the device reset button enable through SGD command. So the idea is to disable the physical reset button to avoid unexpected personnel moving this button and deleting all of the information inside of the printer. The last thing also important is with LinkOS 6.3, we were adding another command to the list of the protected mode command, so you can use that again through the protected way. Let's move now to other updates. With this intelligent kind of concept that we are developing and evolving through our printers, one of them is the case auto-replenishment use case. The idea here is the printer speak by itself. So the printer will tell us when they needs to reorder the supplies. How this could happen, basically for management print services applications. There are two ways to do this. One way is through Cloud Connect architecture. So if you want to implement this architecture, you can do it through our web services version. We have a Zebra connector and SDK in Java to allow us to implement this configuration. In this configuration, you will have access to the printer in real time, 24/7. And after you get access to the printer, you will be able to see the alerts. You will be able to prevent issues through accounts downtime, and also manage device through the Zebra connector. So you will be able to discover new printers, establish connection, and work with the SDK to do other operations. The operation basically works from the browser, establish connection to the Tomcat server, through the SDK will be enable communication to the Zebra connector, and the Zebra connector will be able to connect through the security WebSocket to the LinkOS printers. Now, there is another way to do that. There are some cases where you don't need to have real-time operations. There are some ways, like, for example, the media replenishment. Media replenishment, you don't need to have that data in real time all the time. You can capture that data once a day or twice a day, depending of the printer that you have, the consumption that you have, all of those variables, but you can determine all of those kind of things depending what kind of operation you are implementing with your printers. And through this configuration, you have an on-premise network collector. Basically, this is the configuration. You can have multiple printers here connected through a router. The router is going through a local data collector app, mainly in a local desktop. And the local desktop or server is sending that information to a managed service application. So most of the operations that you will be doing through the previous configuration and on real time, you can do that through also through this configuration. So you can see alerts indicating the printer status, also preventing issues that cause some downtime. But again, it is not in real time. Just need to have that in mind. And in one cases, this configuration is useful for you, and also you can work mainly through SNMP. Also, you can use JSON or SGD commands. One of the nice about this configuration is that you can filter data before to send that to the cloud. And the other important advantage of this configuration is many other brands that other printers are using SNMP protocol, so you can have a mix of fleets Zebra printer with other kind of printers in your configuration, so you can use this other architecture to work through this. Okay, through LinkOS version 6.1, we just made another important update to make precise the way that you measure the media into the printer. So all of the information that you are capturing for implementing all of the algorithms for media are more precise because we have been improving all of the way that movement of the printer does. So the information that you capture through the odometers are very accurate and precise to get when you need to you need to do the replenishment. You can get that information through OID in SNMP or through JSON and SGD. Other updates that we have done through LinkOS 6.3 with the idea to implement this intelligent printer and also to implement the use case of replenishment as implementing those tables through SNMP. This kind of table is already available, and since you're working through SNMP, you can capture that data immediately accessing this table. How you can do it, I'm going to explain later how you can get more information about this, but this is applicable mainly to two products. The CD510 that use media cartridge and the CD421C, the version C with cartridge that has a cartridge for ribbon. So you can, at one capture of data, you can capture all of this data at once, so you can know exactly how you can manage your algorithms to make more precise the intelligent portion of this and the replenishment or your fleet. The same thing, but now we continuous roll. So for the other kind of printers where you don't have cartridge, but you have continuous roll, we have created another table to do the same thing, capturing one time all of the information that is important to calculate and to implement all of the intelligence that you need to develop the use case for autonomous replenishment. The other important update that we have done through LinkOS 6.3 is the one related to the system alerts. So you are able to capture through SNMP up to 19 different alerts that the printer produce. So you can see here some example of them. Printer pause, head open, but again, you can get up to 19 different alerts and errors that the printer produce, and just one time through the table. So you are able to implement this through SNMP. How? Or how you want to learn more? So you can go through our website, Zebra.com, look for the printer that is object of target for your implementations. Through the Zebra product page, you will be go down to the section where say firmware. The firmware, you will need to download the C downloader in order to process the firmware. You don't have another way to do it. And you will be able to download the version of LinkOS 6.3. If you want to review all of the notes in more detail, you can go review the notes, but also comes with the MIP file, so you can do the implementation for SNMP. And yes, you see a PDF ticket. That's the next item that I'm going to explain now. With LinkOS 6.3, PDFs is now free for anybody. So what you need to do to work with PDF direct. So if you are already familiar working with the PDF, so there will be just a review for you. So if you already have printers in operation, LinkOS printer of those, and you don't have update to LinkOS 6.3, the expectation is that you do the update to LinkOS 6.3, and we recommend to do that update. Now, if you're working with PDF or you're planning to work with PDF, I recommend to go through the link here, or just go printers include free PDF direct in Google and go directly through this blog. The blog explains in detail what I'm gonna explain faster in my next slide, how to do the update. So if you're familiar with Zebra tools, you are familiar with C Downloader. But if you're not familiar with Zebra Downloader, the first thing that you need to do is download Zebra Downloader. Zebra Downloader basically is the tool that allows you to upload the firmware or any files to the printer. So after you have it done successfully the update to LinkOS 6.3, you will be just doing the updating of PDF direct file to the printer, and after you have it download the file to the printer, now we can move here to the other portion of the of this configuration as activating the PDF in your printer. So there are basically 3 commands that we want to run in order to do that. The first command is the one that is enable PDF. So APL enable is enable PDF. The second one is just scaling to fit. And the third one, maybe it's not necessary, but we recommend to do it, is a soft reset just to run all of the changes. So the next time, the next power cycle of the printer will come already with PDF. So after you have done that process with the printer, the next step is just to send a PDF test. So you can do it through any application that you have supporting PDF, but if you want to do the test through through the Zebra tools, you can do it. I'm going to explain that before. We are doing here is verifying that the implementation was successful. So we ask, is the application enabled? Is now in PDF, and the answer is successful. PDF is enabled now. Then again, the last part of this process is just to verify that your printer is supporting PDF. So the idea is that you can do that going to Open Printer Tools, going to Action, then look for the option Send File. In Save File, just send the PDF. Look for the PDF file. Normally, with the zip file that we provide, we have 2 different files to test. There's one with a 4x6. So let's take the 4x6 file to test in this particular case. So here, we want to just choose the 4x6 file. We want to open it and send to the printer, and you should be successfully printing PDFs with your Zebra printer in LinkOS 6.3. Okay, let's move to the next portion of the presentation. So how to do this programmatically. Okay, so this on the left side is a full sequence that have been implemented as a sample to do the process through an Android app. And then I'm gonna just explain the sequence just to repeat. Many of you know this, but it's just to review the whole process. The first thing that you need to do is review the connection. So you create a new connection. And in this particular case, we are doing the connection through Bluetooth. So after you open the connection through Bluetooth to the interface, we create an instance of the connection to work in the application. Then we check the status of that instance. We verify that it's ready to print. So it's ready to print. The next thing that we want to verify if the printer has already PDFs is enabled. So we verify that here in this portion. So we verify that the printer is already enabled. If the printer is not enabled in PDF, you have 2 options. You can just don't print PDF, or the next thing is you already have PDF. You can do it programmatically, and instead to use the command sgd get, you can get the command sgd set and send to PDF in order to enable the printer in PDF programmatically. So after you have the printer in PDF enabled, the same thing, you send the file using the command printer send file contents. So you use just the URL where you had your file, put the URL on this on breaks, and send the files to the printer. We have implemented everything through the SDK, so you don't need to worry to do that process. Just use the same file contents, and that's it. That's all that you need to make the application works in PDF. All of the devices that have been updated in this particular update are all of them that you see here in the stock, mobile and industrial. And just last month, we released the CD621, CD421. So those are already living from factory with link OS 6.3. So for those ones living from factory with link OS 6.3, you don't need to do the update again because they're already coming with link OS 6.3 and also coming with PDF. The only thing that you need to do is update or enable PDFs in case that you need it. Okay, let's move now to introduce the intelligent edge printer concept. There are some mega trends going through the big corporations now, Hewlett Packard, Google, Microsoft, and many other ones implementing this new concept. What is this new concept means? So let's try to analyze what intelligent edge device means. So when we talk about intelligent edge device, based on the actual literature, is a device that is able to collect, communicate, generate, analyze near data. So all of the data that you are collecting is near to the device or close to the device or in the device. And that data could be captured in real time through autonomous computing process by edge databases. So what you need computing process and edge databases to create an autonomous, basically that's the goal, autonomous device. So there are different levels of autonomous. You can see different examples of the autonomous robots. Is even for robots there are different levels of autonomous for robots, but that's basically the end goal of to do these autonomous devices that think by themselves. So how you can do this? If you do this, basically you will get some reducing latency, you will be reducing cost, you will be reducing security risks, and you will make the process more efficient through the device. So at the end, if we are able to implement all of this concept, we will have intelligent edge printers. So how we are doing this and why is important for us doing this? We have many different verticals where all of these kind of needs are now a request. So we want to support all of those manufacturing, healthcare, transportation, logistics, retail, and e-commerce operations through autonomous intelligent edge printer devices. Why? Because as you see, we have been pushed harder with post COVID-19 situation to make everything autonomous and without contact. So that's even pushing harder all of the big electronic corporations to make the things better and autonomous way. How we are planning to do this in Zebra? So we are planning to do this through an app platform. We are developing all of the infrastructure. We have done already the proof of concept. We have done different kind of proof of concept. We have verified that the proof of concepts are successful. So we are moving now to the next phase and implementing all of this. We already have print DNA capable printer models with very powerful microprocessors computing devices. So the one important thing here is this go through the more powerful printers we have, and industrial and in desktop and the high quality mobile printer. In all of them, we will be implementing all of the security development and deployment options that we have seen. We have been doing those all through our powerful link-OS operating system, and we will be introducing the capability to the printers to work in Java. So attention developers here, so you will be able to work with Java and with internal databases to implement all of the intelligent concept that we just reviewed in our Zebra printers. When that is coming, that is another thing that we are planning to do, but it's coming soon. We just stay tuned when new news are coming for this. Now, where we need the developers here, we want to think what kind of operations, what kind of applications you think that we can introduce through the Zebra printers to make the printers intelligent edge device. So tell us, send us, communicate through me, make those questions, try to do all of those things useful for your implementation and use cases, and let us know in advance. Why we choose Java? Okay, Java, as you see here in our last research, still is the more popular and friendly programming language above of C. C is a very solid programming language for embedded devices, but still Java made this more friendly above Python. Python have made a lot of market and growing. We know many developers like Python, but still the decision went through Java. So we are implementing Java as our programming language. And through this, we are making this interacting through level next generation of processors, made the architecture add in data and motion. So we know all of the capacity that Java can give us to make this happen. Here, what you see here is some examples of the proof of concept that we are doing already with Java and our new web pages. Everything that you see, the functionality that you see on the left, making the printer as a standard website to access to the user and password and access different menu data and actions, configurations, port settings, alerts settings, print settings. Everything could be done directly through the web pages in the short future. But that's basically how we are moving forward and how you can get access to this soon. Now, how we are enabling here with the ISB will be able to download those apps into the printer and making your use cases more friendly for the end users. So, for example, you can add web pages where you can get access to different forms directly through the printer, even if you don't have access to the printer directly. So you can get access to mobile printers or desktop printer with the same program inside of the printer without using an external device for that. How we are making the developer experience more friendly. So here is where developers want to hear. We are planning to do this using the standardization of the ways that developers used to work. One of them is to develop an app studio. The app studio will be done through a version of the Clicks. And if you're familiar already with the Clicks, so that will be very useful for you. Now, how you're planning to deploy the application to your print to Zebra printers. There are some manual ways. So the manual way is through a USB stick, but that's not the more recommendable way. So what is the other way to do it? Like the standard way for most of the modern smart devices, you are doing all of the downloading of the apps, firmware, and everything through an app store. So we are planning to develop all of this infrastructure soon. Let's try to review that in detail in the next slide. So how we are planning to develop all of this infrastructure. So here, this is just what we have in mind and how we are getting to this process. We will have App Store in the cloud. In the cloud, you will get access to this cloud to deploy or to upload your apps that your end user or different end user wants to use for the operation, like the standard smart devices are using now. And into that, the app store will be different kind of apps. You can have a decorative app, for example, a clock app, or you can have other operation app, for example, to measure the intelligent process that we were defined before, the replenishment. So, and also we are planning to work with other providers, with service providers. So the advantage with this that the printer will get access to different agents. We are also implementing a lot of this technology with the printers now. For example, you will be able to access agents for example, MQTT that allows to implement IoT devices. So when these agents are unloaded to the Zebra, obviously those agents has to be customized for Zebra products, but when you are able to download them, that will implement all of the communication through web services API faster and better. So at the end, all of the concepts that we have been talking about to have a Zebra Edge printer will be a reality. So again, stay tuned for new developments on this. We will be calling to actions, and basically what we need from you guys is giving us use cases, at least to define what kind of default apps will be useful to have in the printer with this new concept to make the printer smarter. And with this, just move to the audience if everybody has any questions.